So I would like to introduce our speaker, Dr. Jahad Broman from the International Tropical Timber Organization, ITTO. Dr. Jahad joined ITTO in May 2029 as the Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Officer in ensuring development and employment of the organization's monitoring and evaluation system. And effectively, Dr. Jihad was appointed as the ITTO Director of Operations. Prior to joining the ITTO, he served in various international organizations. He worked as the Program Manager for the Asia Pacific Network for Global Change Research based in Kobe, Japan. And he also served as the Assistant Director for Science Program at the Inter-America Institute for Global Change Research, IAI, in San Jose, Brazil. In his talk today, he will share with us a brief introduction of the ITTO and also the funding opportunity and also its application mechanism with us. Hope that we get to know more about the ITTO and also the funds to be applied for research in your organization. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Jihad to begin his talk. Dr. Jihad, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Introduction has already been done. I think I don't need to add anything to that. I'm at ITTO here since 2009 and was Planning, Monitoring, Evaluation Officer and then Director of Operations since 2022. So in the beginning, a quick overview. Probably not all of you are, or most of you even, are not familiar that much with ITTO. We are an intergovernmental organization with a mandate entirely focused on tropical forests, tropical forest resources, and the mandate that we have is basically twofold. First of all, is to support sustainable development, sustainable management and conservation of tropical forests, and secondly, to facilitate the use and diversification of trade in tropical timber from sustainably managed and legally harvested sources. So some background information. ITTO was established in 1986 under UNCTAD, which is UN Trade for Development. So we have our own agreement, 1986. That means also that this year we have our 40th anniversary. We are currently governed by the International Tropical Timber Agreement 2006, which is the third tropical timber agreement that is in force, and we have 76 members, which is 75 countries, and the EU is also in itself a member of the organization. And we are headquartered since the very beginning in Yokohama, in Japan, where I am and Tetra, my colleague, are currently. So this map gives you an idea about the membership of the organization. In dark green, you see the producer members. That's the division we make. We divide between, or we separate between tropical timber producing countries and tropical timber consuming countries. So the blue underlaid countries are the consumer members, and the green are the producer members. You see across all of the tropical regions, we have 37 producing member countries, which is 14 in Africa, 10 in the Asia Pacific region, and 13 in Latin America. And we have 39 consuming countries. Of course, that already includes 27 of the EU countries. And in total, that covers roughly 80% of the global tropical timber forests and accounts for about 90% of the trade in tropical timber or tropical forest product. What do we do? What is our approach? What is ITTO actually doing with the members? So first of all, we develop policies, that is guidelines or policies that our members agree on. So that could include, for example, criteria and indicators for sustainable forest management or others. Then we do field projects where we assist, provided we get funding, of course, to implement those field projects, where we assist member countries to adapt those guidelines and norms to the local circumstances, because of course the circumstances in different countries or different regions are not the same everywhere. So the guidelines are general or the norms are general and they need adaptation to the individual circumstances in each country or region, and we try to assist members to do so. Then we collect a lot of data and statistics. We disseminate those data to our member and also to non-members that are publicly available on production and trade of tropical timber, and also on very important approach that we take is capacity building. That includes the ITTO Frisala Fellowship, which I will go a bit further into detail later on. So far, as you see on the bottom of the slide, ITTO has funded more than 1,200 projects and activities, and the value, the initial records of the first years are a little vague, but is estimated to be more than 430 million across the tropics. And of course, across a very wide spectrum of topics. Now, I said that we develop guidelines. Now here you see a selection of those guidelines. For example, to the left, you see the ITTO criteria and indicators. There's several versions. We have started very early to do so in 1992, then updated in 1998, in 2005 and 2060. Then SFM guidelines in 1990 and 2015. This is just a selection. Sustainable management of planted tropical forest. Oops. Going back. Then forest restoration. We have in 2020 developed new guidelines for forest landscape restorations in the tropics. The fire guidelines you see here, or here it's called fire management, are from 1998. We are currently in the process of updating those guidelines, and also we put a lot of effort in this forest management tropical fire toolkit that is supposed to be launched in May 2026, which is next month. So there's a lot of interest in that. We have invested a lot of time and money in this, and we hope that it will be a very useful tool that will then develop further in the future. We are also currently in the process of updating our ITTO IUCN guidelines for the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity in tropical production forests. Other publications or products that we produce, you have a selection here in this slide. We have periodic publications and other publications. So periodic publications is the Tropical Forest Update, which is normally published 3 or 4 times a year. Then we have the market, that's the latest edition. We have the Market Intelligence Service, which is more focusing on timber trade that is and markets. So that is published every 2 years since more than 30 years. I think every 2 weeks, more than 30 years. by now. Then we have the biannual review, so every 2 years, the review and assessment of the world timber situation. And more recently, we have a product called Global Timber Index that we publish monthly for selected countries. Other publication that includes, we have a policy series, we have a technical series, and then we have, of course, a large number of technical reports on selected topics or on outcomes of projects. And I think I want to go to our website now to show the people in the audience that these resources are all available on our website. So if you go to our website, you go to resources, and then you have different categories. So if you go to publications and reports, you find all the publications that I've mentioned before. So the Tropical Forest Update, which is published 3 or 4 times a year, is this kind of publication. The latest edition is about what we have done last year. Then in 6S, yeah, here is a TIC project. Tetra is doing that. That is a project across the Asia-Pacific region involving 6 or 7 countries funded by the German government. So this is published every year, 3 or 4 times. And all these things that I'm mentioning are available free of charge, of course, in the public domain. For the MIS, the Market Information Service, that is published every 2 weeks. And that is about international tropical timber markets. So it provides, here you see it in the introduction, market trends, trade news from around the world, and prices for over 400 tropical timber and added value products. And as I said, that publication is coming out every 2 weeks since many, many years, several decades. So for this one, you have to register. That's the only one you have to register for. But it's just that you give your email address, password, where you come from, and then it's still free of charge. You can view a sample here. So this is the latest issue. So it's, you see, 1st to 15th of April. The next will be 16th to 31st of April. And it has this kind of content that you can see here. I think I don't need to go in any details. You can have a look yourself if you are interested. Let's go back. Oh, wanted to say something to the technical series and the policy series. Technical series, it's this kind of reports that we publish periodically that is not, it's about tropical timber trends here. The recent ones, sometimes it's regional issues about incentives.
Dr. Jihad, may I
Yeah,
interrupt? We
yeah.
cannot see what you show in the website,
Hmm.
but I think the audience can explore themselves after this through the
Yeah, I
website.
think
Yes.
otherwise we lose too much time, because I think that would mean there's another issue here with the security setting
Uh,
of
yes.
the computer. Let me
Okay.
try once again. No, you don't see anything.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so you see the presentation. Okay,
Yes.
then we continue with the presentation. Anyway, you can go to our website to resources, and then you can find all these publications and a lot more other publications and technical reports on our website. They're all available in the public domain. So here is a selection of some of the studies or insights we have done, criteria and indicators for sustainable forest management, timber tracking technology issue, developments in technical and environmental standards in timber markets, global trends, timber procurement policies, forest certification. So it's a very broad spectrum of reports that are available. And as I said, it's all available for download. And normally it's also in 3 languages, in English, in Spanish, and in French. And then here a summary of the statistics and data work that we have done. So the database, which is also available through the website, historical data since 1990. Then the biennial review I had already mentioned, the tropical timber market, I tried to show, unfortunately didn't work. So just go to the website and you will find it yourself. And then also since 2023, we have financed by the Macau forum every year on global legal and sustainable, we call it Global Legal and Sustainable Timber Forum. It's held annually. It was held in 23-24. Last year, unfortunately, due to this super typhoon that hit the region, we had to cancel it because it just hit, I think 1 day before it started. Most of participants were already in Macau. And the next one will be held this year in September 2026 from 22nd to 23rd. There is an announcement already on our website, but for people who are interested, I think in a few weeks that will be updated with new information for people who are interested in that forum and to participate. Unfortunately, we cannot financially support participation. And then our international collaboration with many organizations. Over the years, of course, we have by now accreditation to the Green Climate Fund, and we are working on some proposals. We are member of the CPF, the Collaborative Partnership on Forest, and there is, of course, a large number of MOUs that we have with other organizations and collaborations with CITES, with FAO, with Convention on Biological Diversity. We are engaged in APEC, in G7. We are participating in the COPs, and we have very close collaborations with some Japanese organizations, of course, over the years. Restec, which is working with remote sensing here in Japan, and JICA, which I think most of you are familiar with. But now let's come to the funding avenues or funding opportunities that we have. So there is basically 3, you see, one is in italics, biannual work programs, 3 different avenues, if you want to call it so. So one is, we call it the regular project cycle, where we have 1 cycle per year. And then we have a concept note cycle since 3 years now, 4 years now. It's in year 4 now, where you can submit concept notes. Those can be submitted at any time per year. So there's no deadline. They can be submitted, but there is, of course, some requirements that I will explore later. A biannual work program is something that you cannot participate from outside. That's an internal thing where council approves certain activities. And then I've already mentioned the fellowship program, which is actually an activity under the biannual work program. And that is also 1 cycle per year. And here the project cycle for this year is unfortunately already closed. The deadline was on 9th of March this year, so there will only be a cycle next year. This one is still to be launched, most likely in very early June, end of May, very early June, and then it will be open for 5 to 6 weeks. Now, how does the project cycle roughly function? It's basically functioning. First, you identify the proposal and start formulating it. It comes to us for you submit it under the call for proposals. We have an internal appraisal process where proposals that we receive from member countries are technically evaluated and ranked. Provided the proposal receives a high ranking, we call it category 1, then the proposal can be approved by council, and then we try to find donors who would fund the project. And then it would, of course, in case of funding, come to inception, implementation, and then there is certain other steps involved: monitoring, evaluation, completion, and reporting, and all that stuff. There's also several manuals that come into play at different stages of this process. And now writing a proposal to ITTO is quite an exercise. So we have then come up with the idea to start a concept note process, which is much simpler. And the advantage there is that basically not at the end when you have developed the proposal, you look for funding, but already before you develop the proposal, you submit a concept note. Then we try to find interested donors who are interested to develop together with the proponent that concept note into a proposal that would be done together, ideally with ITTO, with the donor, and with the proponent. So that is much more what we think efficient. And funding is very scarce, as you know, particularly now with the situation in the world. Then I'd mentioned the biannual work program. So this is activities that actually we, the Secretariat, develop, and that our council, we have a council meeting every year that the council approves, and it's a combination. There's some field activities, there is development of guidelines. As I said, the fellowship program is part of it. It does involve members, but it's not that they can apply through proposals to participate in this avenue. Now, I wonder whether you can see. So this is an example of the project cycle that we launch. So you see here the deadline was 9th of March. Normally it's launched after our council session. So this one was launched in November 2025. And then it gives you an idea what is expected, which manuals are relevant, how to submit your proposal, and the deadlines. So here you see the project cycle calendar, the deadline 9th of March. Then we have an expert panel members, it says here, that evaluates those, and some proposals that come in Spanish or French have to be translated, and there's a meeting of the expert panel. They do the evaluation, they categorize the things, and then the final results will be presented to the council for approval. Okay. Now for the concept note process, which is the second one that I had indicated. This one you can find on the basic ITTO site. When you go, you land here, just scroll down, and here it is. Members who wish to submit a concept note in accordance with the decision, they can go into the concept note. Now I have to log in. So if you submit for the first time, you would have to go and register first, which is here's registration, which is very fast. And then you will be led into the system. And it's an online system. So you can put your ideas, your concept in here. You see here the asterisk, comments saying all this information is necessary to insert. You pick the country. One very important thing is you have to keep in mind we are an intergovernmental organization. That means we have country membership and we have contact points for every country. You can find a list on our website also of these contact points for each country. And they need to endorse by email or something every proposal or every concept note that is submitted to ITTO. That is very important because without such endorsement, the system will not accept the submission and it will not be further evaluated. So, but it is a pretty straightforward and pretty simple, actually, not too complicated system. Duration, some indications on which focus area it falls, then the type of project you are proposing, workshop, capacity building, project, community-based things in the macro, or others. Then information about your organization, who is the contact person, what type of organization, and then some indications about what you are actually trying to do, objectives, key problems, stakeholders, activities, outcomes and impacts, and then an indicative budget. You can save your submission, so you can save changes, and we recommend that quite a bit before you submit. Once you have submitted something, you cannot edit it anymore. So, but you can have a version that you work on. You can save it, log out, log in again, continue working on it. That's explained also here. Anyway, it's an annual fellowship that we have. The program began in 1998, and we have funded 1,400 fellows across all the regions. And it's, of course, the fellowship is mainly targeted, as it says here, to young and mid-career people from the producer member countries mainly. It's not impossible for consumer members to participate, but normally the preference is given to producer members. Now, here there is some information about the eligibility. The fellowship is a grant of a maximum of $10,000. Very often fellowships are smaller. They are only applicants eligible from ITTO member countries. You see currently the last cycle is closed, but as I said, in I think the first week of June, this will open, then the information will be here. And it gives you, once you click on this, an idea on eligibility, appraisal, and selection criteria, what kind of documents you have to submit, how the appraisal is done, some documents that are important that you may have to look at when writing your application, and then how you submit actually the fellowship application. As I said, it's up to 10,000 US dollar, and that is normally if you are a recipient of a fellowship, that goes to you, the fellowship. It does not go to your institution or something, but it goes to you, the account you specify, and then you have to deal with the secretariat directly. Now, I think I will stop that here because time has progressed with all the little delays. Sorry again for that, but we are already at 3:45. So I think that I have introduced the main avenues that we have. Of course, once again, let me say that it is not that we are at this point in time swimming in money. It's very difficult to keep potential donors on track, but yeah, we are working on that. That's our job, so we are doing our best. And let me just show you one thing as the last slide. This is the secretariat. So many people think ITTO is a very big organization. No, we are just 29 people. So very crisp, let's say, and but we get things done. Okay, with this, I will close my presentation and to allow for comments or for questions. Or Tetra is also here, who can, of course, my colleague from the technical division, who is also available for any questions in technical respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Johad. Maybe you can stop share the screen.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
then we can
I'm
start
just
with the
doing
question and
that.
answer. First of all, thanks for the comprehensive introduction of ITTO and tell us about the funds, the mechanism, and also the opportunity we have there. Okay, maybe we have some question from our audience. Anyone who would like to ask, please raise your hands virtually, and then should ask your questions. Thank you. Any questions from the audience? Okay, we
I'm driving right now, so I can't raise my hand. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's
Sorry
Carl.
about that. Yeah.
Sean from Frame, you can proceed with your question.
Yes.
Then we have another one from
Thank you very much, Dr. Gerhard, for the presentation. Yes, the question is, we submitted a concept note a month or two ago, and right now I guess we've got to wait for the results from the screening committee. What happens after we get the results? Do we have to proceed preparing our proposal into a full detailed proposal and wait for the next cycle, or would it be something that'll be done that we have to do within that 6 or 7 weeks you mentioned was the timeline? End of question.
Okay, thank you. Understood. Sean, thank you for the question. Very good question. No, your concept note, I don't know exactly where your specific concept note is at what stage at the moment, but you said you submitted it a few weeks ago, so it normally goes first, we assign it to one of the technical divisions, so the technical divisions have a look at it and say, okay, fine-tune here a little bit, fine-tune there. So either they have been in touch with you, or that will come, or that is not necessary. And then what we will do is we, as a secretariat, once a concept note is considered good, we post it on our website and we notify our donor members. There is no category like donor members. Anybody can be a donor. But we inform our donors about concept notes that are considered good, that are technically sound, that are available on our website. And we may also approach particular donors or donor countries. It's mainly countries, it's mainly governments, on the visibility or the interest on some concept notes. So we try to, if you want to say so, do some matchmaking that we have over the years, of course, and we know our people. We have some, we know there might be some interest with the Japanese government, with the German government, with the EU, or with whoever it is, or Australia or Korea. And if there is interest from the donor side, only then would the concept note be developed into a full proposal. And that would be done jointly. That means the Secretariat would be facilitating the development of a full proposal, and it would be done by you as a proponent, you, Sean, and together with a potential donor at that stage, so that the considerations that the donor has are considered, the considerations you have are considered, and we know about the process, how to do it, and then hopefully over a period that is not defined in terms of time, it can be weeks, it can be a few months, a full proposal would be developed. And if you and the donor are on the same page and say, okay, this is what we want to do, we provide the funds, then we have to post it for a no objection. We may also send it to some technical experts for evaluation, and then the project could start. So it would not go into, it's not that you develop a full proposal and then have to submit it under the cycle next year. No, it's a separate process. It's a fast track, basically. Was that helpful?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the explanation, Gerard.
Yes, you are driving.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, the next question, Dr. Jenny, you can proceed your question?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Payne. Based on what Sean's question, I would also like to know from Gerhard, what would be the timeline on posting the concept notes which are deemed to go ahead for the next revision, or even to be decided with the donor. And my second question would be, based on Gerhard's experience, are there any themes that the donors are looking into closely to fund at the current period of time or for the next 2 or 3 years? Thank you.
Okay, the timeline, you mean the timeline from submission until they are posted on our website? Is that correct?
No, what I meant was that the submission of the concept note until the applicant is informed regarding the results of the screening.
Oh, that the screening is done here in-house of concept notes. That can be very quickly, because the screening, as I said, this is different from the project cycle that we have. If we have full projects that are submitted, fully developed project, we have an expert panel which is established, and they review every proposal. Now, in case of concepts note, they don't go through that process. We have an internal review. That means a person like my colleague Tetra, who's online here, they have a look at the feasibility, at the soundness of these concept notes, may consult with other people. And then it can basically, once they say this concept note is good, it can be posted for donor consideration. There's no fixed deadline for that, because concept notes can be submitted at any time. There is no deadline. And then themes, that's a different question, of course, and a difficult question. What are, of course, topics that receive quite some attention recently is things like, for example, forest fires. Now, we are, of course, also on the trade side. There is a lot of interest with traceability things that we are funding. Community forests. It's really very broad, and donor have different interests that may also change over time, I must say. So we don't have such a homogeneous membership. And let me repeat again, when I talk about donors, that can in principle be anybody. Any member country, it can be some organization that would voluntarily give us some funds for something. It's not a defined group, but our biggest donors is by far the Japanese government, and all these governments. It is definitely more challenging than it used to be, because also they are doing many things bilateral by now. Instead of channeling funds through ITTO and ITTO then funding projects, they do it directly. So unfortunately, I cannot specify or highlight any themes, but I would just throw it into the room. Tetra, he's not with me in the room. Do you have anything that you want to highlight here in terms of topics that receive attention? Like, I mean, he's the manager of the teak project in the AP region. That is very interesting. Just unmute your microphone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite tricky because it's depending on the depending on the mood of the
Yeah.
donor.
yeah,
So it's basically we cannot say a certain topic be a priority for funding, but let's say like in the last 5 years, we are doing many projects in the field of sustainable wood use, which cover field of legal and sustainable supply chains, and the promotion of the use of wood, development of domestic market for timber, and then of course Gerard say the traceability, fire, biodiversity also. So it's quite varied and quite large scope for the project. So it's also depend on the, I think, issue, global issue, of course, climate change, things like that. So I understood that you are among the researchers have different interests and different expertise. So be optimistic when submitting a proposal. You can submit based on your expertise or your field of work. So that's something that I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
just to add, there's no restrictions, basically. So in the, let's say, if you want to say, so the good old days, it was always a very important point that projects would come in that are of interest by the submitting party and not so much of necessarily interest of the donor country. So, but yeah, those were the good old times. I think I'll stop there.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Tektra, we heard a lot on this one. Yeah, nice to have you. Okay, so we have another question in the chat box. Please elaborate on elaborate on research areas focus on forest genetics and tree improvement, and also the forest genetic resources management in relation to ITTO fundings. So, yeah.
I mean, in terms of, I think on forest resource improvement, that's something probably Tetra can respond to.
Yeah, it's a question from Dr. Archana from ISFRE. And we are currently working with the ISFRI on the TIC projects
So exactly.
on this line. I mean, for tree improvement, forest genetics. So exactly what is the question? So again, the stream or the detail of what can be done in this topic, it is really on the need of the proponent itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Was there also
yes.
some aspect of traceability? Did I get that wrong or no?
No,
In the
no,
comment.
this is the tree improvement forest genetics.
No, genetics,
Yes.
not traceability. Okay,
Yeah.
good. No, I think that summarizes it well. So I have nothing to add, I think, right?
Okay. I think I think we are three sharp. Okay. But I think there are a lot of information shared here. I think as Dr. Jahar and
You just
Dr.
pick
Tekra
some.
mentioned, you can actually formulate your projects based on your expertise, but anchor it
Yes.
related to the focus area of ITTO. And then the ITTO will find the right donor. Hopefully you get the fund for your projects, right? Yes, it's a long process, but I think it's worth to proceed. Yeah. Okay.
What I like with Tetra is always that he's so optimistic. That is a very positive characteristic. But I think, yes, it is important that people submit what they are really interested in. And as I said before in the comment, it's this bottom-up thing, if you want to say so. Not that you just do to comply something with funds available, just pitching for some money. The TIC project, I think, is a very good example. Phase 2 now across the region in the Mekong. Tetra has managed it yet now in year 6, right? Or 7? 6.
Including India, Togo,
India to Cambodia, we don't have participants from Cambodia here, right? Today, there's nobody from Cambodia. But yeah, I would strongly recommend the people to go for the concept note process, or people who are younger in the audience, have a look at the fellowship site. The fellowship is extremely successful and extremely helpful for the fellows that are approved. The proposals, we can see over the years that we receive far less proposals. We used to have 2 cycles per year. Now there's 1 cycle left. And that has to do with the fact that after a certain period of time, if we cannot find a donor, then proposals we go into, we call it sunset. That means they are not eligible anymore. After 20 months, basically, after approval, if no donor is found, then the proposals go into sunset. And it's quite substantive work to develop a proposal. And that's why we have developed the concept note process, and that works pretty well. It's much less initial effort, time, money that you have to invest. And as I said, what is very important is that we try to do this matchmaking and facilitation between the donor and the proponent. Not always successful, but that's all we can do.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Jahat. So I think we come to the end of this workshop. Okay, I would like to thank Dr. Jahat for this very informative sharing, and also Dr. Tekra for being helpful in organizing this workshop. Before we end, I would like to take a group photo, online group photo. Please turn on your camera. So a reminder to all the participants, please fill in the online form. The link is shared in the chat box. You can put for the attendance and the feedbacks. Okay, once again, I thank the ITTO Dr. Gerhard and Dr. Tektra for this session. I hope that the members from the scientists from APAFRI members can submit and formulate their proposal and submit and get funds for your research. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget the endorsement by the contact point, the
Yes.
focal point of the country.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank you, Swan, again. See you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Bye. Thank
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Gerhard.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Payne.
Thank you.
Bye.
So